They said they were going to come down here and they were going to harm my kids. They were going to terrorize our neighborhoods. They were going to kidnap our kids from our schools, burning houses, burning flags, burning crosses. You're not going to come here and do that to me or mine. I don't give a damn who you are, black, white, purple, green, it doesn't matter.
Hello, my name is Sean, and my first assignment as a freelance photojournalist for the New York Times was a 2015 KKK rally at the South Carolina Statehouse. This rally was on the south side of the Capitol building, and to make things a bit more interesting that day, there was a new Black Panther Party rally on the north side. It ended as the KKK rally began. The KKK rally was organized by the Little White Knights of North Carolina in response to the removal of the Confederate battle flag from the Statehouse grounds after the Charleston massacre, carried out by a white supremacist hoping to ignite a race war. Coincidentally, this neo-Confederate mass murderer was in the 4th grade at the elementary school across the street when I lived in my first post-college apartment here in Columbia, South Carolina. The morning after the murders, I had my first assignment with Getty Images, photographing the South Carolina Senate without Senator Clementa Pinckney, one of the 9 victims. I had a few more assignments with Getty Images covering this story, and I've always assumed that I got on the radar of the Times photo desk because of this. The first part of the rally day was fairly calm. There were only a few white supremacists visible as the new Black Panther Party gathered on the north side of the Capitol steps, facing downtown Columbia. One neo-Nazi arrived before any of the groups did, climbed the steps on the north side, and gave a salute. As the new Black Panther Party set up and delivered their speeches, several hundred people gathered on the lawn where a month before a Confederate battle flag flew. Overlooking the gathering, a statue of a white supremacist, domestic terrorist turned South Carolina Governor and U.S. Senator Ben Pitchfork Tillman. Tillman was a leader of the white supremacist paramilitary group known as the Red Shirts, responsible for the Hamburg massacre near the South Carolina-Georgia borders in July of 1876. This ended with a circle of death on the banks of the Savannah River, where 4 black men were executed. The Red Shirts were one of many rifle clubs formed in the wake of federal anti-Klan laws in 1871. The Federal Judicial Center describes the 1877 KKK efforts in South Carolina as one of the worst campaigns of domestic terrorism in American history. The Red Shirts were basically the KKK under a different name, who didn't hide behind masks and with public members lists. As the Black Panther Party rally finished up, many made their way to the south side where more white supremacists were showing up and being ushered into a barricaded zone by police. That Saturday in July saw a high of 97 with a heat index topping 100. At one point, I laid down in front of a set of double doors so that I could feel the air conditioning escaping out of the bottom cracks. As the Klan rallied, I was stuck outside of their perimeter at the discretion of law enforcement, spending most of my time in a designated media zone between the two groups. The Klan was unable to acquire a PA that day, so they just stood on the steps of the Statehouse waving flags and shouting racist obscenities for 45 minutes.
That's the first time that I saw my city where I saw Bloods, Crips, and folks, guys that I saw fighting in the club last week, guys that I know just shot at each other a couple days ago. You understand what I'm saying? We were standing there shoulder to shoulder.
When law enforcement huddled and started forming a phalanx to clear a path through the counter-protesters, I left my spot on the side of the steps and put myself in front of their procession. I climbed a small wall for a higher angle. As the white supremacists walked in my direction, a man named Victor found his way through the police line and provided a moment for a photo. Victor said he approached the FUBU-wearing toothless Klansman because he was one of their leaders. As the neo-Nazis and Klansmen walked back to their vehicles, most at a parking garage about 3 blocks away, things escalated quickly. There was simply too much real estate and too many people wanting to physically get at the white supremacists. After counter-protesters jumped off a wall and projectiles started bouncing off of parked vehicles, things kind of reached a new level. By this point, I was running. 3 blocks from the Statehouse, a mob surrounded an entrance to a parking garage where police formed a line to keep counter-protesters out. One vehicle driven by a white supremacist smashed into a light post and became stuck. Surrounded by counter-protesters, things got pretty hairy, but eventually they made an escape without any injuries. Eventually, I'd photographed Victor again being led away by the police, but not because of the incident I photographed him for. I'll not only remember this day as my first assignment with the New York Times, but also as a day when the KKK came into town and were chased out.
You can take away everything else that I've done in my life and you can look at that picture and I'll be happy with him falling back on that. What did your daddy used to do? Who was your daddy? Let me show you.